In Pokrovsk, the enemy is suffering heavy losses and continues to fail in its attempts to break through Ukrainian defenses. Even with a clear numerical advantage, occupying forces are unable to advance or secure positions. Two fighters from the Skelia Regiment held their position against overwhelming odds, successfully repelling an assault by 6 occupying forces. In intense close-quarters combat, the defenders eliminated 3 of the attackers face-to-face, demonstrating exceptional courage, coordination, and battlefield skill. The remaining enemy forces were neutralized with the decisive support of Ukrainian drone pilots, whose precise strikes turned the tide of the engagement. This episode once again highlights the resilience of Ukrainian defenders, the effectiveness of combined infantry and drone operations, and the determination to hold every meter of ground despite constant enemy pressure. A Ukrainian MiG-29 carried out a precision strike on an automobile bridge near Pokrovsk, dropping 2 French-made AASM-guided bombs. This bridge played a critical role for the occupying forces, serving both as a key logistical artery and as a sheltered passage for assault groups moving toward the front line. By targeting this structure, Ukrainian aviation disrupted enemy supply routes, limited their ability to maneuver, and deprived assault units of a protected crossing point. The strike underscores the growing effectiveness of Ukraine's air force and its integration of Western precision weapons. Each such operation weakens the enemy's operational depth around Pokrovsk, complicates their planning, and increases pressure on their frontline units, further undermining attempts to advance in this sector. Ukrainian Special Operations Forces have carried out a series of successful high-precision strikes against key Russian military targets in the temporarily occupied Donetsk Oblast. Using long-range strike drones, SSO units destroyed the command post of an assault detachment from the 68th Tank Regiment of the 150th Motor Rifle Division, part of Russia's 8th Combined Arms Army. The command and control facility was located in Avdiivka. According to Ukrainian forces, all strike assets reached their targets, completely neutralizing the enemy command node and disrupting coordination of assault operations in the area. In Ilovaisk, SSO drones successfully struck a fuel and lubricants depot that served as a critical logistics hub for Russia's 51st Combined Arms Army. The destruction of this facility significantly degrades the enemy's ability to supply frontline units with fuel and sustain combat operations. Additionally, on the territory of the Donetsk International Airport, Ukrainian Special Operations Forces hit a storage site used for housing attack drones of the Shahed and Geran types. This strike further weakens Russia's capability to conduct drone attacks against Ukrainian cities and positions. In the area of responsibility of the 81st Air Mobile Brigade, the enemy continues attempts to advance using small infiltration groups. Russian forces are trying to penetrate Dronivka and bypass Ukrainian defensive positions via the Siversk-Zakitne road. From the direction of Yampil, enemy pressure has intensified. Russian troops are making unsuccessful attempts to ferry personnel across the Siversky Donets River using motorized rubber boats and establish footholds along the riverbank. The enemy is also attempting to move artillery closer and deploy drone operator positions near the northeastern outskirts of Dronivka and in the Serbrandsky forestry. The main objective of Russian forces is to seize control of the riverbank area along the Siversky Donets, including Dronivka, Platonivka, and Zakitne, in order to deploy artillery and UAV units and disrupt Ukrainian logistics. Ukrainian units of the 81st Brigade continue to deliver effective fire strikes, preventing the enemy from achieving its objectives. A wide range of enemy targets has been successfully struck. This is the result of the intense and highly coordinated combat work of the UAV pilots from the Rubaka unit of the 77th Air Mobile Brigade. Operating under combat conditions, the pilots conduct continuous reconnaissance, detect enemy movements and positions in real time, and deliver precise strikes that systematically weaken the enemy's combat capability. Their work disrupts enemy communications by destroying antennas, suppresses assault attempts by targeting infantry concentrations, and neutralizes heavy equipment and artillery that pose a threat to Ukrainian defensive positions. Each mission reduces the enemy's ability to maneuver, resupply, and coordinate attacks. FPV drone operators of the Bulava unit from the separate Presidential Brigade carried out a successful strike against Russian forces moving in civilian Zhiguli vehicle. The enemy attempted to use the car for rapid movement and concealment, but it was detected in time by Ukrainian aerial reconnaissance. Precise FPV drone strikes directly hit the target, resulting in the elimination of the occupants and the destruction of the vehicle. This operation once again demonstrates how Ukrainian FPV units effectively neutralize enemy personnel even when they try to blend in with civilian transport. Speed, accuracy, and real-time coordination allow Ukrainian forces to deny the enemy mobility, disrupt their plans, and impose constant losses on the battlefield. UAV operators from the Crazy Cats group of the 3rd Separate Assault Brigade delivered a powerful strike against enemy equipment in Kharkiv Oblast. Using FPV drones, the operators precisely targeted and disabled an enemy tank, methodically taking it apart with accurate hits. After neutralizing the armored vehicle, the unit escalated the attack by deploying a heavy bomber drone, dropping several high-payload munitions onto enemy positions in the area. This operation highlights the effectiveness of combined drone tactics, fast and agile FPV strikes to eliminate armored threats, followed by heavy bomber drones to finish off targets and suppress nearby enemy forces. The coordinated actions of the Crazy Cats group once again demonstrate how Ukrainian UAV units dominate the battlefield, inflicting losses on enemy equipment and personnel while maintaining control of the airspace over the front line. Enemy infantry stands no chance. FPV drone pilots of the 92nd Separate Assault Brigade are operating around the clock, 24/7, relentlessly hunting and destroying occupying forces wherever they are detected. Through constant aerial reconnaissance and precision FPV strikes, Ukrainian pilots track enemy movement, disrupt assault attempts, and eliminate manpower before it can reach Ukrainian positions. The enemy is given no time to regroup, hide, or adapt. Every movement is monitored and every mistake is punished. Combat operations continue without pause until Ukrainian land is fully cleared of the occupiers. On the Vovchansk direction, Russian forces have begun deploying ground robotic complexes in an attempt to support their operations. The systems were detected by UAV pilots of the Murchiki Battalion of Unmanned Systems from the 57th Separate Motorized Infantry Brigade. The enemy was observed using two types of robotic platforms. Both robotic systems were promptly identified, tracked, and completely destroyed by Ukrainian drone operators before they could have a meaningful impact on the battlefield. This episode once again demonstrates that even the enemy's attempts to rely on unmanned group technology fail under Ukrainian surveillance and precision strikes. Any effort to adapt or gain an advantage is quickly neutralized, ensuring continued Ukrainian control of the situation in the Vovchansk sector. On the Liman direction, the enemy faces non-stop pressure thanks to the relentless work of UAV pilots from the Signum Battalion of the 53rd Mechanized Brigade. For these operators, there is no such thing as poor visibility. Day or night, fog or cover, their drones detect, track, and strike with precision. Every movement is monitored, every attempt to hide is exposed. No occupier can escape their watch. Continuous reconnaissance and accurate strikes keep the enemy under constant stress, deny them freedom of maneuver, and ensure Ukrainian forces maintain control across the Liman sector. Near Kostiantynivka, the enemy suffered heavy losses during an intense engagement. While much of the world was lighting holiday decorations at home, Ukrainian drone pilots were lighting up the front line. UAV units of the 28th Separate Mechanized Brigade delivered devastating results. Ukrainian drones destroyed and damaged 6 artillery pieces, around a dozen vehicles, ground robotic systems, ammunition stockpiles, enemy infantry, and even new Russian bomber-type UAVs. These results were achieved through coordinated, round-the-clock combat work by multiple units, including UAV specialists from BBPS Spalach, Kurd & Company, RV of the 3rd Battalion, the 2nd Mechanized Battalion Libertas, and the 1st Mechanized Battalion. Their precision strikes denied the enemy firepower, mobility, and logistics at a critical time. These enemy assault troops have become familiar targets for the pilots of the 63rd Mechanized Brigade. As they attempted to storm Ukrainian positions, they were quickly detected from the air and engaged by drone crews. The irony did not go unnoticed. The attackers appeared almost prepared for their fate, wearing black coverings that stood out clearly against the terrain. Precision UAV strikes followed, leaving no chance to advance or survive the assault. This episode once again underscores the dominance of Ukrainian drone units on the battlefield. Any enemy force attempting to push forward is spotted early, tracked continuously, and neutralized before it can threaten Ukrainian defenders. On the Liman area, Russian forces are suffering losses from the very first days of the year. The occupiers attempt to escape on foot, flee on mopeds and quad bikes, take cover in shelters, and return fire in desperation. None of it helps. Drone operators of the Fathom unit from the 60th Separate Mechanized Brigade are relentlessly at work. Through continuous aerial reconnaissance and precise strike missions, they detect enemy movement, track retreating groups, and eliminate targets before they can regroup or hide. The result is a new wave of confirmed enemy losses, shown in footage from the positions of the 3rd Army Corps in the Liman sector. Constant pressure from Ukrainian UAV units ensured that the occupiers begin the year not with momentum but with destruction and mounting casualties. Masterful work by the Dovish Hornets. The operation unfolded with textbook precision. First, drone pilots destroyed 2 units of enemy equipment, cutting off mobility and fire support. With the vehicles eliminated, the drones immediately switched targets, pursuing retreating enemy infantry and neutralizing them one by one. This sequence clearly shows the strengths of coordinated UAV tactics, rapid target acquisition, swift strikes on equipment, and relentless follow-up against personnel. Once detected, the enemy had no chance to escape. The Hornets prove that dominance in the air translates directly into control on the ground. At this moment, events are unfolding rapidly and the situation is changing by the minute. Reports are coming in from multiple areas, movements are being recorded, and decisions are being made in real time. What is happening now has direct consequences, both on the front line and beyond it. Only by looking at the full picture can the real meaning of these developments be understood. All the key details, confirmed information, and the latest footage in our full overview.
Kupiansk has been almost completely retaken. Fewer than 100 occupiers remain alive in the city. And the Ukrainian armed forces will neutralize them in the coming days, assures Viktor Trehubov, spokesperson for the Joint Forces Group. According to him, the operation to clear Kupiansk is nearing its end. For the most part, the Russians are hiding in basements in the central and northwestern parts of the city, from where they are being effectively and impressively, smoked out by our defenders.
The overwhelming majority, in fact, an absolute majority of the city is controlled by the armed forces of Ukraine. Moreover, in some areas that are not under control, according to fairly well-confirmed reports, Russian forces are surrounded, and therefore there is a high chance that they will be destroyed, captured, or finished off. This is what is de facto happening on the ground.
The situation for the occupiers in the Kharkiv direction is so dire that even the most notorious Kremlin Z supporters can't stay silent about the Russian army's failure. Not even the most hardened Kremlin Z propagandists are able to keep quiet.
Russian military bloggers are squealing like pregnant pigs. Although, no, that's not the right way to put it. No, of course they're not squealing. Pregnant pigs don't squeal at all, it's just regular squealing. And pregnant pigs don't stand up. And ours, let's say, are cawing like crows, saying everything is lost.
And all this is happening against the backdrop of Putin personally ordering Russian commanders to capture Kupiansk by February.
Everything is based on a single thesis: on Russia's aggressiveness.
The occupiers are still hoping to storm and capture the long-suffering Pokrovsk. Despite constant local assaults, Ukrainian units still maintain control over the northern part of the city. And more importantly, they are holding back the enemy on the approaches to Myrnohrad.
Their objective is to capture Pokrovsk and Myrnohrad. They will try to accomplish it. And for that, they will try to use various tactics that, in their opinion, might bring them success. Right now, they have one approach. In a week, it will be something else. In 2 weeks, maybe they'll come up with something new. But as long as this objective remains, they will, unfortunately, try to do everything and use manpower as a resource for it. That's their usual rule of action.
Because of this, the logistical situation remains difficult. However, the Ukrainian command is taking all necessary measures to expand transport corridors toward Myrnohrad in order to strengthen the supply and support capabilities for our units. At the same time, in Myrnohrad itself, the military explains, Ukrainian units are reliably holding defensive lines and destroying the enemy as they approach the city. As evidence, our drone pilots are publishing yet another series of unsuccessful attempts to storm our positions. As a result, the occupiers have lost almost all of their assault troops. Just imagine, in 2 years, Russian forces have lost in the Pokrovsk area armored vehicles and tanks alone, an amount comparable to at least 5 divisions. The Institute for the Study of War provides shocking data. According to their calculations, the Kremlin has burned through over 1,000 armored vehicles and more than 500 tanks near Pokrovsk. Since then,
Russian forces have changed their tactics, abandoning mechanized assaults in favor of larger infantry operations. Presumably, this is to preserve equipment that has low survivability against Ukrainian drones. This shift has allowed Russian forces to continue their advance literally on foot and with heavy losses. As a result,
since October of last year alone, the Russians have lost up to 25,000 soldiers during the capture. About 30 square kilometers in the Pokrovsk area.
In total, 2 direct hits. Quadcopter burning, another quadcopter burning, another quadcopter burning. Buggy. Vehicle. Kia. We have 6, a distinct number, then 7, following closely. Next is 8, a symmetrical digit. After that, 9, almost reaching double figures. And finally, 10, a complete number. And
that's how all the enemy's attempts to break through the Ukrainian defense end. Only the Alpha Special Forces of the Security Service of Ukraine, In just the past 2 weeks, they have struck at least 7 enemy tanks, 45 armored vehicles, and 13 artillery systems and MLRS with attack UAVs. And in addition, SBU pilots destroyed 3 Russian air defense systems, 2 electronic warfare systems, 255 vehicles, and over 1,000 enemy positions and fortifications. And as the cherry on top, 5 ammunition depots and 2 fuel and lubricant storage facilities of the Russian army. And even though Russian propaganda actively conceals the real situation at the front and carefully hides the occupiers' losses, this information, albeit with a delay, still reaches Russian contract soldiers through word of mouth.
It's quite unclear what exactly to fully expect, what lies ahead, but officially speaking, we're flying into the siege zone to make up for the losses. As far as I fully understand, there are a significant amount of losses, unfortunately. That's why they're sending everyone there. No one is being downgraded in terms of fitness category. We even have a guy here on crutches.
But Russian generals care little about the morale and physical condition. They care little about the soldiers. In pursuit of yet another fake report for Putin, the command is ready to throw hundreds of thousands of soldiers onto the battlefield, achieving no results in return just so they don't anger the man in the bunker.
From the war, you either come back disabled or feet first.
That's all for now. If you believe the world should know the truth about this war, make sure to subscribe, like and share this video so everyone can see what Ukraine is fighting for. Together we're stronger, together we're bringing victory closer.